Welcome to Meet the Voter, episode 21, and on timelines, it's 2/28. And tonight is Sunday, March 6th, 2016, and we just suffered through the Democrat debate.
What a load of bullshit.
Today, can't cuss on the show, Jonathan. I have to edit that out. Today, on the show, we have Dr. Nicholas Hernandez in the... My goodness. We have Dr. Nicholas Hernandez, resident artist and progressive Democrat from Laguna Beach, California. He's running the chat box, so he'll be chatting to you, and he'll be coming in about 10 minutes. We have Heather Ann Havenwood. She's taking a break to go actually do some work in conferencing. She's our conservative Republican and founder of Sexy Boss and is coming to us from Austin, Texas. We have Republican Bob from Central California. I really don't know how to describe him. I know him pretty well.
Black shirt fascist.
There you go. We're related, brother. We both got the black shirts on.
And we have
for yours. I bought my own.
And on Jonathan Dinwood, I'm never sure exactly what to call him. He's an entrepreneur, a tech business owner, a socialist Christian Democrat from Carson City. Did I get that right?
Yeah, you did, actually.
Amazing. That's a good start. After 21 shows, I got it down.
Is that gin you're drinking? Sounds like you're on the hard stuff to me. Is either vodka or gin you're knocking back?
Well, we'll start the high-tech timer. So
Being that you're a Republican, I'm not surprised you're knocking the hard stuff back.
I wish I need some beer tonight or something. I need a wine at least.
So, Bill, is this a Blab right now that you're recording, or at iTunes?
We're recording. Okay, recording on Blab. Actually, the sound has come back on Blab. We did an excellent show today. WP Tonic is gorgeous right now if you go on timelines. It's a really good show. It's about learning management systems. You might be interested in that too down the road. LMS. What was that?
It's him. It keeps
Havenwood from Austin, Texas. Yes,
it's him and that bloody crazy cat of his.
So, anyway.
And we have Bob over here with a cat on his head. I mean, that's kind of fascinating, actually.
You know, I'm not sure where to start. There's so much stuff happening.
What's the cat called? Ted Cruz?
No. It's called Lucky because it has a great owner.
Little Rubio. So I think starting off this week, Bill, let's dive into it. So what happened this week is Cruz has really positioned himself as someone who actually can potentially beat Trump. I personally don't think he will. However, I do give him applause that he has beat Rubio. Poor little Rubio has just been pushed down the I call it the ankle, down to the ankle sides. And what's interesting to me is I watch Alex Jones here in Austin, Texas. The Alex Crazy Alex, as they call him.
Alex, you mean bonker Alex?
Yeah, he's kind of crazy, but I love him. A week ago, here's what he said. I want to discuss it with you guys because I want to give y'all's take on it.
Do we have to discuss the comments of a lunatic?
Hold on, here's what he said. Let me finish, Jonathan, so then you can go on your rant. Okay, so here's what he said. He said that this was a week ago, not today, a week ago, right? He said that here's what's going to happen. All the money that was with Jeb Bush has now gone with little Rubio, the establishment. That's $75 million. $25 million of that's going to go on ads for this next week or two. Here's the condition they gave him. If Rubio does not win Florida, he has to win Florida. If he doesn't win Florida, they will put Romney in. They will switch him out and put Romney in. Now, this was told by Alex a week ago before even Romney came out and had a conversation. And on Meet the Press today, if you saw it, I'm sure you guys did, Romney even brought it up. He kind of had this, well, I will or will not. I'm not sure if I position myself as the person who's running. But they want to position him where he's actually not running as a candidate. He's actually positioned as a candidate, and that he actually can be voted in. Your comments on that?
Bob will go next.
Romney's not going to get in. Romney couldn't beat Candy Crowley in a debate. He's not going to get involved in an election. He's a wuss. He's yesterday's news. His 47% comment because he didn't defend it, even though it was 100% right. If you're going to make that argument, you need to defend it. And we need someone that at least has a little bit of guts and able to stand up and fight for what they believe in. Romney's yesterday's news. He needs to go away.
He is Bob. You are correct. However, the establishment. It's not about Romney. The establishment can't control Cruz. They can't control Trump. They have to have somebody. They put their money.
Are you gonna accept Romney?
No.
Are you gonna accept Romney?
No.
I'm not gonna accept Romney.
What's
so
going to happen?
It's not gonna happen.
I agree with you, but I'm just saying that I think this is what the establishment is doing.
More chance of my cat winning than Romney.
I agree with you.
It's not going to happen. Yeah.
This is the establishment's play if Rubio doesn't win, which isn't so good. This is their thing. I don't think it's good.
I got to give Rubio credit. He's come in no lower down than 4th place.
Right.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I like the same.
So that's an improvement for Rubio.
So, Jonathan, I know, first of all, full disclosure, Bob and Heather are both Trump supporters. I'm a Cruz supporter, and Jonathan is a Bernie supporter. You know, a Hillary supporter has never come on this show. Isn't that ridiculous?
They're just dying for it. I love one to come on.
Well, they're standing in line waiting for their BET card to get regenerated or something.
Yeah, about Romney, I thought it was the most bizarre speech I've seen in a long while. It was just ridiculous, you know, that what he said, it didn't even make much sense, really. Part of me agreed with some of the things he was pointing out, but it was totally destroyed by the person that was presenting the argument, who has no credibility with most people. When you see that he took the endorsement of Mr. Trump 4 years ago and sung the praises of Mr. Trump considerably, it doesn't have any credibility at all. And secondly, I thought a venture capitalist vulture like Romney to actually criticise another Republican for making a load of money was bizarre. I just found the whole thing to be quasi-bizarre, Bill.
Romney used to apologize. I saw him apologize for being a capitalist and making money when he ran for president. And that's why he disappeared for a month. And that's why no one supported him, because he was a joke. He was a joke when he ran.
He's a complete joke. And I found it real interesting today when he was talking about, the gentleman asked him, he said, you allowed Donald Trump to support you. And in fact, you said he was a great businessman. With all these failures you're talking about, quote unquote failures, was after the failures were before 2012 when you were saying he's great. Now you're saying he's not great. And when I hear about Trump University and Trump Magazine and Trump Mortgage, I think that's an entrepreneur. I mean,
right.
Entrepreneur, great idea. Trump Mortgage. I mean, I wish I would have done Trump Magazine. I'd probably buy it. I just think that he's an entrepreneur. It's not about taking one business. And if you look at Romney's background, which I looked up on Wikipedia today, he's done nothing.
It's got to be all true that ever.
You know, his father attacked Barry Goldwater. There's some clips of him attacking Barry Goldwater.
Wow. See? And
big time.
Why and talking? I'm like, shut up, Romney. You lost. Go away. Like, who are you? Why are you in this little race?
He's trying to destroy the Republican Party, I think.
Well, they're trying to get ready to put together the Romney-McCain ticket.
Yes.
I don't think he has to try too hard, Bill. I think it's imploding on its own, isn't it?
I'm not sure. I'm really not sure. I'm a Cruz supporter. Cruz believes in small government.
The creature of the night, as I call him. What a creature of the night he is.
Anyway, a lot happened. There's 2 debates, crazy debate. What I want to do is you guys really focus at talking one at a time. I want to put Nick on for the next 10 minutes. I'm going to drop off. I'll come in the last 5 minutes and we'll open it up. You stay there, Bob, Jonathan, Heather. Good to have you on. So I'm going to take a pause for put a couple seconds of quiet. Let's put the quiet in there right now so I can find this, and then I'll hang up.
Hey, gang, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hey, Dr. Nick.
Hey, Heather. Hey, Bob.
Hey, how you doing?
Jonathan, how are you guys? Good to see you.
Doing well.
All those unicorns and rainbows you heard about this evening with the Democrat debate, giving away everything they possibly could, even though they're the ones responsible for Flint and everything else. If you want to look behind every great scandal,
there's only one person responsible for Flint. That's your friend, the governor of that. There's only one person
Go for a Democrat administration.
Not your paranoid statements that somehow it's got something to do with the Democrats. It's your governor. It's your governor's fault.
It's local government, city council, county representative superintendents. Those are the guys who are responsible for this. The governor comes in and they're trying to put the blame on him, just like they did.
Because it is his fault. That's why.
If it's his fault, it's Obama's fault. It goes all the way to the top.
I know the crazy world you live in.
Yeah, Obama's trying to poison his own people.
That's got nothing to do with Mr. Obama.
You think it's a coincidence that Bernie Sanders' initials are BS? Come on, let's get serious here.
Well, that's a Republican logic, right?
By the way, I want to say, Bernie Sanders, Dr. Nick, I wanted to ask you a question about what happened with the Democratic debates when Anderson Cooper asked him about being Jewish. I found that really fascinating that he was very much like, of course I'm Jewish, and I'm very proud to be Jewish. But I have to say that up until now, he's never talked about it. He never pointed with his I am Jewish. You know what I mean? Like there's this piece of him that doesn't talk about it.
I have to refresh. Everybody stop.
Well, Bernie mentioned how he got government housing support and everything else. I don't think he had a job till he's...
You can pray for a second.
Jonathan, I see little devil ears coming off of you. Bill, can we stop praying now?
Yeah, is Nick gonna join us? Come back, Nick. Come back, Bill.
Our white privilege.
Okay, Nick is having some technical difficulties, but I want to say something that I meant to say early on as we started. Nick actually had the best forecast last week and really brought it to perspective that Bernie Sanders actually does have a chance to win the primary. I really thought he was toast after the southern states all went to Clinton, but he does have a chance. The thing is, Clinton is using the race card to the nth degree. And another thing that happened, Mary Madeline said it this morning. I thought this was an amazing statement, and I can't say exactly what she said. I need to paraphrase it. But Mary Madeline came up and said that a lot of people are now going over and voting for Trump and actually coming into the party because they're sick of being called racist by the Democrats. Even Democrats are being sick. White Democrats are being sick of being called racist, and they're tired of it.
Can I say something to that, Bill? And I completely agree with you. And I actually did a story on Mary Madeline today on Twitter, and people were dissing her over that. I mean, they were attacking her on Twitter over that. And I found that really interesting when she said the quote, "I'd like to choke you." The point she was making was she's so sick of people talking about the race part and that Trump is pulling people over because of it. I completely agree with you. But I think it's interesting how much she was being attacked for what she said about that. And then just to give you an example of what happened today, you kept asking about what happened today. Rubio won Puerto Rico, which doesn't really matter in the big term. But Sanders won Maine. Sanders won Maine, and then Cruz won Maine as well. So I found that really interesting that both of those guys won Maine. That's awesome.
Maine was yesterday, right? And then today was Maine for the Democrats.
Can I say something about Bernie Sanders and the Democratic Party, Bill?
Go ahead. You don't have to ask me permission. Just talk.
Yeah. I listened to Meet the Press, and I've had enough of it. I've had enough of, that comedian Chuck Todd. And when you check his background, he should have never been the presenter of Meet the Press. He's got no experience for the job anyway. And I've just had enough of it. I've had enough of the Democratic establishment that are really more corrupt than anything in the Republican Party. They are the essence of crony, corporate, corrupt bunch of bastards. I've had enough of listening. Every time they talk about Bernie Sanders, they put, here he's got 1,000 delegates,
correct.
But that's mostly made up of her cronies. That was it, the 15-20%. But they're not supposed to say who they're going to vote for until they actually get to the Congress and actually vote. They keep flashing that figure up, like what you said, Bill. She's only won states that when it comes to the general election, are Republican. Wherever on all the swing states, all the states that are really up in a general election, Bernie Sanders has destroyed her. And yet, you listen to those jokers on Meet the Vote, Meet the Press, and I agree with Mr. Trump, actually. They are the scum of the earth, that Washington journalist clique. They're just a bunch of scumbags. And the more I see them, I just like to get rid of them all. They're just lying, no good bunch of bastards.
I've been saying it for 20 years. Welcome aboard.
I want to actually say something to Bernie Sanders, which I find very respectful. I mean, I was actually very impressed with this when he said he's had roughly 5 million people give a donation of $27. That into the calculation is $135 million. That's pretty impressive. You know, like, got to give the guy some serious cred for that. Versus with the Hillary Clinton campaign, we don't even know who's given in that super PAC, for what reasons, of why, and the fossil fuel or the oil or whoever it is. I mean, we really have no idea. That's what the super PAC is designed to do, is to cover that. And at least Bernie Sanders has some like integrity around it, like, you know. And so I find that really interesting. But I agree with you. Every time I watch Meet the Press, Chuck Todd or whatever his name is, I always ask, who are you to like be the person for this? And he has this kind of attitude that he's above people. That's my view. And I find it really interesting because he's like, he attacks, and you can tell he's very much a Clinton supporter. It's like, aren't you supposed to be just what I call neutral as a journalist? And he doesn't. It shows right through him. He is 100% bought and paid for by the Clinton campaign. And I find it really sad.
You know, it's interesting. The press is bizarre in the Washington Beltway. I call them the Beltway bandits in D.C. And that's some of the problems. You know, this is definitely a crazy, crazy election cycle, and it's hard to know what to forecast. I'm going to leave one last point here. They mentioned briefly tonight about the scandal about the emails and the violations of classified and FOIA violations from Hillary. And I talked, and he's gone. He was up here earlier. His professor at Leavenworth. I wish he was still here. He was here earlier. And I talked to him a couple days ago. And he taught at the Command and General Staff. He's a Navy officer for 8 years. And he lives in Leavenworth. And he said, I sit around the coffee shops and the old officers are all talking and sitting and talking. And a lot of these guys work on and off base. And the Army, that people have never left in the civilian world, think that she's going to get away with, they all say that she's guilty, that she should go to jail. But they said there will not be justice because of the Washington power structure. And that's what they believe. And I don't believe that. I believe that justice will occur and that she will go to jail or will be not allowed to run because of these gross violations. I don't think people realize how gross these violations are. Just FOIA alone is gross. But to violate security?
They're huge, Bill. The problem is that for some reason she's not been indicted. And this came up this last week. I think this is last week, of the gentleman, and help me with the name. He was the one who set up her server. He has now been granted immunity, meaning anything he says, he's not going to jail. He's been completely granted immunity.
Right.
And that is a big deal because
you know the big deal?
The big deal is the servers. He has access to everything that was stated in the intent, which is now what they're trying to improve, the intent of this.
But the problem is, will he tell the truth?
Well, he has to tell the truth on that. I mean, the biggest fear that I have for him is that he's going to be room temperature pretty damn soon.
I told my wife the same thing the other day. I said, you know what? If he dies, something's really good. If he gets killed or something happens.
I'll tell you, I would not say no to holding his life insurance policy right now.
Now, Bob, I agree 100%. I would never say this years ago, but it's so goofy, especially with this clan, this group.
Oh yeah.
I also like to add something about Romney and his speech. To me,
Romney.
Romney.
It's Romney. I like that. Romney.
Romney. Yeah, it's right, isn't it?
Romulus and Remus.
Yes. It showed to me how out of touch the Republican establishment really are, how in a total bubble they are to the reality of the situation.
I agree.
And I think dragging that bit of old crap onto the television, sprouting his, and even if I'm a Christian socialist, but if I was a Republican, it was just a ramble of attacking another capitalist for being a capitalist. For being, I classify myself a capitalist, but but Romney and Trump, I don't think have any moral basis or anything. But then he attacks him for doing exactly what he is. And I thought, am I hearing this?
The only difference is Trump understands what it's like to fail, try and fail. He understands that philosophy. Romney has had a silver platter and never really.
He graduated from Harvard, and the moment he got out of Harvard, he was granted a management business, quote unquote, management business consulting job. For some reason, out of that, he's made $21 million out of being a consultant. Come on, people. Really?
He didn't do it. He didn't do it by building businesses.
He's not built anything. He's not created anything. He doesn't.
No, he created Obamacare in mass,
and he saved the Olympics. You got to remember with Romney.
No, he didn't. Let me tell you about the Olympics.
We're having a revolution, and Romney says, "Eat cake."
It's stated on Wikipedia that he was given a paid leave of absence from the management consulting company to go run the Olympics. Oh, so I still get paid.
I like paid leave of absences.
Hey, in closing, I'm going to get off and let Nick come back in, but I want to say this. I'm a Cruz supporter. I was, part of that is I was Rand Paul, but Cruz. I think Cruz is good. I like small, efficient government. I like small government. I just don't like big government. And Trump has a little bit too many bigger government programs. But that said, I was so mad at Romney. I mean, I even thought, I said, man, I'm so mad at this guy. I might I hope. I don't know. I just thought Trump. I felt like going out and supporting Trump. I was so mad at him.
Can you imagine a Trump supporter watching that? You couldn't do much more to make people decide to vote for Trump by watching that speech. It was everything the average Trump supporter detests about the Republican Party.
We had
amazing.
We had 30% more people come out and vote than 8 years ago in the caucus here in Nevada. 30% more. Instead of 8,000, 12,000.4 came out. And a lot of those are white. I hate to say this. This is the race thing, but they're white Democrats changing parties to vote for Trump.
I'll tell you one thing, Bill. Us progressives, if we need to go down to that Congress, that Democrat, and we need to go and sort out that crowd down at that elite that run the Democratic. We need to run them out of town and sort them out once and for all, and give them a good beating, which they deserve for the traitors they are to America.
I knew he supported torture. I tell you, it's so bad for the Democrats that even the dead aren't coming out to vote this election.
Hey, I wanted to say something real quick about Trump, just and I love Cruz, by the way, but I do want to think it's really interesting, is that because, like I said, Jeb Bush was the establishment. All that money went to Rubio for some reason. They pledged $25 million in commercials. And I'm just quoting here from Trump's Twitter. How do you fight millions of dollars of fraudulent commercials pushing for crooked politicians? I'll be using Facebook and Twitter. Notice that he hasn't spent one dime on.
Yeah, but being fairness heavy, he hasn't had to, because the media, they had the I think it was the head of this one of the major channels, and he said they love Trump. It's made them gobs and gobs and gobs of money.
Yeah.
And that's why, he's not had to spend a lot. And it's not only, he's just got an enormous amount of television exposure.
He's smart. You know what? He did spend a little money. He bought JebBush.com. It shut. Hey, I'm going to take a break. Quiet everybody for a second.
He's gone.
Where'd he go?
I don't know. He's like the wizard. Well, he is the wizard of the Ku Klux Klan in Reno, isn't he?
David, what is his name? David what? The Ku Klux Klan member?
Oh, David Duke.
David Duke that came out and 100% supports Trump. And they were all freaking out because he has
Nick,
what's the word?
Nick, if you can come on. Why aren't you coming back, Nick? There's Nick.
Who's going?
I'm going to go and send this out again. I wonder what's going on with Nick today. He was fine. He was talking. What is going on? I have to edit this out. So quiet again. Pray. Nick is gone.
I do agree with you, Bob, actually. I thought I'd never say this. Oh, he's back. Can you hear me? But you are right, I feel. The leadership of the Democratic Party are some of the most corrupt bastards I've ever seen. I mean, I've met some corrupt politicians in the UK, but I've never seen such a crowd of crony bastards as that crowd and they're trying to muscle out Bernie Sanders with their rubbish.
Yeah, he's done very well. I mean, he's raised $135 million. But I wanted to say one thing about Donald Trump and the media, just because to the point of the other candidates, just understanding it, is that I think at the very, 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 very beginning of all this, I mean, at the very beginning, the moment he announced, he went on every single podcast, radio station, the WWE. He went on anybody that would ask. And if you remember at the beginning, Hillary Clinton wouldn't go on anything. She wouldn't even talk to the press. And so I just think that it was interesting at the very beginning. He went on anything and everything. He didn't care how big or small it was. And it's a PR ploy. And I just think it's an interesting PR ploy that now they all want the media. But at the very beginning, he was what I call the first one out the gate. And so I think that's one of the reasons why he's getting so much publicity. He doesn't have to use the hard tactic of commercials, I feel. That's just what I think. I think Bernie Sanders, too, is willing to do on any radio station, on any podcast, and on anything. He's willing to do whatever it takes. I find that really interesting. That both of them are willing to do it, and they're getting the most support, but both of them are the most anti-establishment.
Yeah, that's true. And but have you guys, Bill talked about the importance of polls. Have you seen the polls as to who beats who? Hillary loses to both Cruz and Rubio by a couple of points, and but Trump, Cruz, and Rubio all lose to Bernie on a national level. And I've been trying to tell people this because Super Tuesday, everybody said, again, the media said Bernie's done. Bernie's far from done. There were 35 more states to come, and he's just won 3 of those 35 states, and he's about to win a lot more. And then there's Baby Huey, which is California, with over 400 delegates. You guys hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All of a sudden, again, I'm looking at.
No, you're fine.
We're listening.
You're fine.
You're fine.
Okay, because you guys just froze.
No, you're fine. It will come back.
You can see me?
Yes.
Yeah, you're fine.
Okay, because you guys just froze visually. You guys just froze.
It's a bandwidth issue with Blab, so just keep on going.
Let me ask you a question. What are the polls at right now for California? I've seen 0 polls on California. Have you?
Oh, Bernie by a landslide.
Really? Well, what on both sides, Republican and Democrat?
Well, it's pretty much Trump. Trump has convinced enough people that he's capable. So, probably nomination. Because of I know a couple of senators and I know some things about the Hill, and he'll get eaten up alive because he's not a politician. And he will be, in a way, it'll be sort of like Obama when all the Republicans just said, no matter what, whether it's good or bad for the country, we're just going to block Obama, everything he does.
No, it's not true. Everything Obama brought was bad.
That is true.
Everything Obama brought was bad.
No, that's your perception, and that's dead wrong. You're completely wrong about that.
Right.
You have a jilted, I suppose, and you just said that Bernie is BS, and Heather just said that he's the only one with integrity of any of the candidates, of any of them.
I didn't say only one.
And Trump will get eaten alive on the Hill. They'll make a mockery of him.
Can I say something? It's pretty obvious to me, and I don't know if Heather and Bob will agree with this. is that it's pretty evident to me that I think that Mr. Trump will get a majority of delegates, but I'm not sure he will reach the threshold. And it's pretty obvious to me that the establishment in the Republican Party are planning a coup when it comes to the actual Congress. The actual,
I don't think they can do
they
it.
plan to do a kind of midnight coup. But I think the Republican Party would implode then, and I think Mr.
It's not going to happen.
Well, I think they are actively. That's just my opinion, Bob. I think they're actively.
They may think about it, they may talk about it, but like I said, this is bigger than the party right now. Like I said, I'm a Republican establishment guy, and I'm sick and tired of what's been going on because they've kissed that Obama's backside for these 7 stinking years when they should have been kicking his ass instead of being this little wimpy party up there. And the bottom line is we need to stand up and fight for this country if it's worth fighting for. If you don't have a border, you don't have a country. Bernie is nothing but a socialist. He's never done anything, and all he can do is take money and give it to someone else. And he'll go on any show and say what he has to say because everything he's saying is we're going to tax the 1%, we're going to give it to them. We're going to give you free this, free this, free this.
What I love about this is you're talking about Bernie, not Hillary. And that's a good thing because that's who's.
Well, you told me to talk about Bernie.
Hillary's history. Yeah, she's history. And
Hillary has 104 emails that were considered classified when she sent them out.
Hey,
my only question is, did she mark them classified when she sent them out?
Didn't go to jail. That's even more egregious. So yeah, because if you're in those power positions, you can do anything and you won't go to jail.
Like I said, socialism works until you run out of other people's money. Those of me, like me, who pay taxes. We're sick and damn tired of paying for what you guys don't want to do. You don't want to do anything for the African-American communities. You let them run down to hell, and then you say it's Republicans' fault because of racism. It's because of the fact that you guys are the racists. You keep them down on the plantation. You won't allow them off.
You're fine, Nick.
It is what it is.
You're fine, Nick. What amazes... Oh, he's gone. But what amazes me... Oh, he's back.
Fresh.
No, you're fine. We can hear you. Oh,
yeah.
He's back again like a wizard. What amazes me about you, Bob, is that you start going on to these rants of yours, yet your candidate that you publicly supports actually talks more like a socialist half the time than he does a Republican. He's against. If you let me finish, I want to point out what he talks about ending what is called free trade and bringing back tariffs. He talks about, if you're a free market, if you're a free market Republican,
they have
allow industry to go wherever he wants to go to.
Okay, we're coming back on to finish up the show. We're going to ask 2 things. Heather's going to talk a little bit about Texas, which is unique in the next couple of minutes. Then we're going to ask the question, what do you think is going to happen in the next primaries, and who do you think is going to win for your party? Go ahead, Heather.
As a Texan myself, I found it really fascinating that Cruz won Texas. Now, our governor, our lieutenant governor, and our past governor all are supporting Cruz. So for that, on a political level, I get why the people just kind of went with it, right? However, at the same time, I find that Texas is very pro-business and pro-capitalism, and I don't hear that a lot with Cruz. And so I found it really interesting that Cruz actually won by such a landslide with Texas. However, I would say that if Cruz is the nominee, right, of the Republican Party, I don't know if he would actually win over Texas because of that. I just don't think so. I don't know who won Texas. Okay, Hillary. So Hillary won Texas on the Democratic side. So she took all the 147 votes. Texas, believe it or not, is heavy Republican, but there's a heavy Democratic side to it, believe it or not. So I just find it really interesting. Now, my prediction is upcoming. Let's see. We have Hawaii, Idaho, Michigan, Mississippi, all coming up on the GOP. My prediction is Mississippi's going to be Trump. Michigan, probably Cruz. Idaho, Cruz, and Hawaii, Trump on the GOP side.
Okay, so go ahead, Jonathan. Do you want to give your forecast? And by the way, Heather, who do you think is going to win the primary for the Republicans and the Democrats?
Trump. Trump, and I'm still back to Clinton. I would like Sanders to win personally because I find that really, I give him a lot of respect, but I think it's going to be Clinton just based on she knows where the bodies are buried.
Yeah. Hey, let's go to Bob next. Bob, what is your forecast? Let's go over those primaries if you want to. Hawaii and Idaho and Michigan.
Say about Texas. Texas is basically crony capitalists, establishment Republicans, Tom DeLay, the corrupt Tom DeLay Republicans. That's exactly why I went for Cruz. It is what it is.
Yeah, I know.
Interesting. Yeah, Texas is a really interesting Republican state. It sounds like a pretty oligarchy, strong Republican-controlled state.
Well, people were still putting ice on Kerry's backside because of the way he got his butt kicked by Trump. So they're all butthurt. And that's
I guess we can say that is. He's butthurt.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Her butthurt bad.
So, Bob, real fast: Hawaii, Idaho, Michigan, and Mississippi. How are they going to go?
Nobody cares about Hawaii or Idaho, for God's sake. You got potatoes and marijuana; those are the crass crops. Mississippi's going to go obviously with Trump, because they got their, the KKK connection. So it's a done deal.
Okay, that's good. We've got District of Columbia, Guam, Northern Mariana Islands, March 12th.
Mariana, we don't care about that. The bottom line is got to be Ohio and Florida, and that's what matters.
On the 15th,
Rubio's gone, and then we have Cruz and Trump, and then we'll make the decision.
So if John Kasich does win Ohio, is that going to mean anything?
Kasich he's that little brother that always wants to go on a date with you when you're going out with a beautiful girl like this gorgeous blonde over here. It's like, get out of here, kid. Leave. Just go away.
That's how he is. He's like,
go away. Just leave.
He's like the person you invite to the party and the party's over and you're picking up stuff and everything's going in the trash. He's still there. Like
he's still holding the bowl of dip and there's not a chip left in the house.
Bob, I think he always had to go with Gary Condit to the parties, though.
Just leave. Go away.
He was Gary Condit's party buddy.
Go.
Okay, let me give you my forecast. First of all, I think that I can't say what I think Trump might win, but Cruz I think has a chance. So I think it's crazy out there because of this crazy world. But Trump will probably take it, but it could be contested. We didn't even ask that. I think it's going to be contested. To tell the truth, it's probably going to be a contested convention, and we don't know what's going on. So the reference coming up, I'm just going to talk about Florida and Ohio. I think Trump is going to take Florida, and that could seal it. It's going to be close. But the Republican establishment is going to go ballistic, and then who knows what they'll do next.
Poor little Marco.
Little Marco.
And then Ohio, I think John Kasich will take it, and he'll be happy, and then he'll just fade away.
Kasich taking nothing. He's going to go home.
Jonathan, you, and then I'm going to call Nick. Will you?
Yeah. Well, I don't think unless there's a real kind of shenanigans at the Congress, I think it's so evident that the Republican establishment are in a total bubble there, and I don't think it's totally personality, because fundamentally Trump is on a kind of national socialist, quasi-national socialist platform of tariffs, the stopping of any more jobs going to China and America, and about increasing tariffs on manufacturing goods, which will force corporate manufacturers to bring jobs back. He's about getting rid of Obamacare, but bringing in what he says is a free market solution. But then he also says that anybody that can't afford that solution will be looked after, which has tans of a kind of socialist solution. But you find that with a lot of his positions, they are a mixture of populist, nationalist ideology. The wall business, well, the problem with the wall is that when you've got a $300 billion industry, which is the drug industry, these Mexicans are very good at building tunnels. So you can build the best wall you like, but when you can make $300 billion, you can build some fantastic tunnels. I think somebody should point that out to Mr. Trump. A more logical policy would be to totally legalize the drug industry and actually make taxation which could help people that are in addiction, rather than building some godforsaken wall which they just build tunnels on. When it comes to the Democratic Party, well, it needs Bernie Sanders. You might not like his policies, but at least he's honest. And they're so corrupt, they actually make the Republican Party look honest. I've never seen such a pack. I'm talking about the those that run the Central Democratic Party, but you see it also in
Schultz.
You also see it in Nevada, don't you, Bill? With those that run the Democratic Party in Nevada, they are the most corrupt of people going. They really, really are corrupt, and it needs true people that have character and liberty to go down to that Congress and sort that crowd out once and for all.
Hey, that's great. That's a great time to finish. We'll be back. Everyone continue on. We're going to stay on YouTube for a while. I've got some comments I want to make on YouTube about Nevada, which I think it's like more than what I'll add a little bit more to what you said. Hey, thank you, Heather. Thank you, Jonathan. Thank you, Bob. And thank you, Nick, even though I got a text from Nick that he's busy, he can't come back up. He's got a lot of stuff going on right now. They got two art galleries that they're opening, have a new one, and they're actually doing pretty well. And he's busy. Talk about little capitalists there. But he's also at Chapman, so he mixes the university. I guess anyway, I better watch what I say. Anyway, Thanks for everyone coming on. I got a lot of editing to do on this show, but stay on for YouTube. Okay, what I want to mention about Nevada, and this is on the record. I have one of the guys I served with, Lieutenant Colonel, worked for the I can't think of the gaming board. The gaming board here? And he explained to me, we were over in Afghanistan together. We spent a lot of time on and off. We were sister teams. And I took over one of his teams, actually. And he explained to me how Nevada runs. We have a real estate company here, too. And they have a lot of cronyism here, like nothing like much more than California. Nevada has more cronyism built into its government than anywhere. It's both Republicans and Democrats. And you've got Harry Reid controlling a lot of both the Republicans and the Democrats. There are a group of Republicans here controlled by Harry Reid. And even though the Republican Assembly and Senate and the governor are all Republicans, they surely don't vote like Republicans at all. It's really bizarre here. It is bizarre.
Well, the people must love them. They keep voting them back in, Bill. So, I mean,
it is really bizarre. I mean, Harry Reid literally controls the state. Wow. And the governor, I can't tell you about the governor. I like the governor, but I don't like his policies.
Well, I'll tell you, Bill, the politics of local politics right now is not going to make a damn bit of difference to anybody if we don't get our border secured, if we don't make sure that we put our fight to ISIS and actually destroy them. You be a military guy, you understand we need to do. Yeah. As far as the drug thing about legalizing all the drugs, if you legalize all the drugs and you make $300 billion, we're going to be paying out $1 trillion on mental health, health care, and everything else. You want to legalize drugs? Then fine. You take the drugs, you realize the responsibility of it, you're on your own, buddy. That's the way I look at drugs. That's a personal choice. You want to be responsible for the decision you make. You decide you want to take meth and your teeth fall out and you get down to 105 pounds, you can't expect me to put you back into shape again. I'm not that Humpty Dumpty guy. You fall off that wall, it's over, babe.
Well, that's the difference between, because I'm a Christian and you're, I don't know what the hell you are. But I actually believe in the New Testament. I'm not some fascist pagan like you.
Believe in
so there we go.
Money.
I don't know what God you.
You don't have to set up balls to make a decision to say when somebody does wrong, it's wrong, and they need to stand by their decision.
You want to
believe in God.
You want to read the New Testament. It might help your soul.
I don't need to read it. Why do I need to read it for? You're either good or you're evil. And to me, you facilitate evil by saying it's okay to legalize drugs. It's okay to keep African Americans in the projects. It's okay to.
I never said that.
Why don't you want to set them free? Republicans set them free 150 years ago. Get off your butt and stand up with us.
I've never said that at all. That's in your crazy, twisted, fascist mind.
Reality.
You're so twisted.
94 million Americans are out of work, for Christ. 94 million, for Bob's sake. 94 million Americans are out of work. What are you doing about that? They applaud this guy in Washington, D.C. He's doing nothing to help people. 50% unemployment in the African American community, 4.9% unemployment. You really believe that? Talk about unicorns and rainbows.
Can I make something totally clear to you, Bob? I totally despise President Obama. I think he is a bit of piss, basically. He lied to the American people. He was bought by corporate America. He was handled. He was packaged. The American people were sold a bill of crap. And he's done
poop.
Nothing for the people.
Nothing good.
But some idea that he's a real progressive, or he's really a kind of quasi Islamic communist. It's so ridiculous. It's so far-fetched that I end up having to defend somebody that I totally despise anyway.
He's a thief. He wants to take my money and give it to someone else. He's a thief, a common thief.
You know what, Bill? I just want to say thank you for bringing Bob on here. I just really appreciate his views. That he's kind of punching a little on Jonathan. And by the way, I feel like I'm in the Brady Bunch, and I want to be like, and we have Jonathan, and we have Bob, and we have Bill, and Jonathan, and Heather. Brady Bunch. Okay, just kidding. Jonathan, you're adorable. You know I love you.
Great strategist. If you ever need a campaign one, Bob is the guy.
I get that, Bob. So let's campaign together. Let's I don't know.
Quiet death.
Woman, because hell, anybody can nowadays. I mean, I'm just saying. I think we could do it. I don't know how we would, but
I'm an establishment Republican who got kicked out of the Republican Party for.
I wonder why you got kicked out. Because you're a quasi bloody fascist. That's why.
Because they.
How do you get kicked out?
You're not kicked out.
I supported.
Next week you want to come in your real cab, your KKE white robes. Actually, Bob, that's what you really.
He's on.
Call me a racist. Now that's just total asinine. That's just total asinine. The bottom line is, I'm for letting people be whatever they could be, and you're for keeping people down. Why not respect African Americans and think that they could succeed? Why do you have to feel you need to be this paternal source out there to take care of these people? They want to be free, and you keep holding them back, and then you go to them for your votes, and then you ignore them for 4 years. Flint, Michigan is a Democrat paradise. Look at Detroit, look at Chicago, the murder capitals, all Democrat establishments.
Well, I've just told you that I totally think that the Democratic top echelon are some of the most corrupt people ever. How more clearer do I have to be than that, Bob? But I really think next week you want to come in your real garb, your white garb, actually. I think
I'll wear black.
And the hat. I'll bet you wear it regularly, actually, Bob.
Not with hair like this. You notice I'm not losing it. It's where when you wear those capsules when you lose the hair. The hair's real in this hair.
Something about David Duke and the Trump thing. I just want to point that out. Okay.
That was weird.
No, it wasn't.
And I just posted something about it. Now, what he's saying, and I have to give where credit's due. You might not it's KKK. Like, let's not even go there, right? Of what all that stands for. But I'm trying to say
actually, I disagree with you, Heather, because is that the core of American politics?
I let you spoke, Jonathan. Let me just get my little point out, and you can attack it in a minute. So, what David Duke was saying, he said, quote, that voting against Trump at this point is really voting against your heritage, right? Now, that was the quote, right? And so what he's doing is he's endorsing Trump on a public level. I don't think that's something that David Duke has done in a long time. Now Trump, to his purpose, he's like, I disavow. But he's not going to say, I don't want to not have the votes.
You want to take the votes.
Yeah, you're not going to disavow it. Right. So that's all I have to say.
Hey, check out
this. That it's so proportion.
Check out this clip. It's hysterical last night from Saturday Night Live. Hysterical.
When
you get a chance, just look at that clip. I might even put it in with the show notes tonight.
They're going to be the one with the KKK little armband there.
They're just. I mean, it's totally. They were hitting Hillary the time before, but it's like crazy.
Well, the bottom line is David Duke was, quote unquote, a racist. And like I said, again, all the racists, you go back to the KKK, that was all Democrat Party in the past.
I read about Burr today.
The Republican Party is the one who freed the slaves, fighting the Southern Democrats. You know, the easiest thing to do is to say that I'm a racist. Again, like I said, you don't know me from jack squat. You don't know what I've done in my life or anything about me. And I said, I get pissed off about stuff like that. And like I said, to me, someday, maybe we'll meet. And then you say that to me face to face, and we'll have our discussion. That I'll tell you right now.
You
should be.
I'll tell you straight in your face that you're racist, and you are a racist. You might think you're not.
What are you based on?
A racist? He's not a racist at all. He is like not a racist at all.
Classifies over 5 occasions over these shows. He's classified the whole Muslim. Which is, I don't know, 120 million people.
Not the entire party, but just the extreme radicals.
He's regularly said or referred that all Muslim people should be put.
Be careful.
No, he's not said that.
I've never said that at all. That's not true. It makes sense to stop any Muslim immigration into this country, until we get this stuff figured out.
I think we shot Heather. I think she could.
No, she's getting late back there for her. I'm happy she came on. And I want to edit this. I'm going to put this up tomorrow morning. Normally it would go up tonight, but because I was a little late,
I was just going to ask you, Bill and Bob, actually, something about American politics and society I find slightly bizarre, actually. When you get hecklers, people that turn up at your rallies and they start shouting and that, in Britain, unless they're violent, you actually encourage them because it's a sign how you verbally deal with them. They heckle you, and in Britain, it's a sign of your political ability, the way that you verbally handle them. In America, you seem, if you start heckling, they kick you out.
It's a political strategy. It's called bracketing. I used to bracket events. You go there, and your purpose is to you make yourself the news story. And so that purpose, they're there, the Black Lives Matter and these people, they are paid by the Democrats to go there. That's what they do. And when you have people like that are there to disrupt it, you don't accept them. You need to say, you need to go. If you want to be part of this rally and listen to what the man has to say, fine. But if you're going there to disrupt it, you kick them out. It's called bracketing.
Private property.
Bracketing. That's exactly what I used to do. I would bracket the event from the front to the end, and I'd have people in the front calling names, people at the end calling names. Yeah. That's what you do when you play politics, baby.
Yeah, that's true. We've seen that, haven't we?
That's what we used to do.
Put people in there, and it really
Brits, they don't kick them out. They just take the mickey out of them, and they call them out for the idiots, which they are. They don't kick them out.
That's their purpose. They know they're idiots. They're going to be idiots. You cannot have a rational conversation with them. And so you need to eliminate them for the event. Get them out of there.
Remember the Dole campaign? I
realise I'm not going to have a rational conversation with you, Bob. But I don't hold it against
the Dole campaign.
You can't kick me out of this event, though.
I was running for Congress. Jonathan, I was running for Congress.
I'm up for it.
Jonathan, I was a Republican nominee running for Congress. Bob was working in my campaign. We had a goofy campaign, but we were also hooked into the Dole campaign. And I spent a couple of days with Dole. We went in the bus a few times, went to Sacramento. Brian was all over the Dole. My son was a little kid. It was like right next to Dole in pictures and stuff. But in that campaign, I learned so much. I saw so much stuff. Remember, they had it so organized because they knew protesters were coming to these big rallies and the signs, and they put blockers in and all sorts of stuff.
That's why Hillary's campaign, because the crowds are smaller, it's easier to stop the Bernie supporters from coming with a Bernie sign.
Yeah. And Hillary, I could not get into – I got into Bernie, had 4,500 people here. I'm a veteran. They had a veterans rally for Hillary, and I tried to go just to watch them. I couldn't get in. I'm a veteran. It was like only 100 veterans were there, and it was about 200 Hillary staffers, and it was like so close and controlled.
In the 1960s, when I was a young lad, I actually did walk against – the Vietnam War. We had anti-war demonstrations in San Francisco.
In San Francisco?
I was against Vietnam. And like I said, I was also in 1971. I was also, my little job at the time, I was actually a bodyguard for Coretta Scott King at an event in the Kezar Stadium when she spoke against the war. Like I said, I have utmost respect for what her husband did. I don't care, the fact she was assassinated. they said what he had these other affairs, whatever. I don't care. He was a good man who understood people, and I wish we had people like that today. And Nick, last time I asked him, I said, show me the Democrat today that says, ask not what your country could do for you, ask what you could do for your country. And he referred to himself. I'm talking about an elected Democrat who would say that.
Bernie Sanders. But,
No.
he's not a Democrat, is he?
No.
Yeah, that's true. He's not a
He's
Democrat.
he's not willing to sacrifice. He's willing to make other people sacrifice for what his vision is.
Well,
We're talking about personal sacrifice. Hasn't done anything.
Well, I think the reality, Bob, is that American politics for a consistent period of time, especially in the Republican Party, has moved consistently to the right. I think
I think they moved to the left. I honestly think they moved to the left.
Moved to the left.
I think we're not Reagan anymore.
Is the Democrat Party of the 60s. I hate to tell you. It really is.
The whole country has moved to the left into bigger government.
Yes.
That's why there's a $3.4 trillion budget.
Well, but that's got nothing to.
A long time.
You're mixing political ideology to the facts of the world. When somebody gives you gobs of money to through lobbying,
capitalists,
you do what you're told, don't you?
Well, and like I said, and to me, and this is what really bothers me, because like I said, the racist part is, I think we need to make sure. Where's the feedback coming from, Bill? Me?
Don't worry about it. We're at the end of the show. Did you didn't open up any windows? Did you?
I get angry. I don't have any open. I get very angry with the inner city. What's going on in there? Because, like I said, I see lost generations of people.
I am. I'm extremely angry about it.
We need to find ways to, number one, put discipline back into schools. And next week or whatever, I'll talk with Nick, because, like I said, we are reducing the number of people, of those who are disruptive in the classrooms. They're looking at the color, not at the action. And that's wrong. If somebody smacks a teacher, I don't care if you're white, black, green, or whatever, you need to be suspended or expelled. They're really reducing how they're punishing these children. And I think they need to elevate that and say discipline is an essential part of life, not just what you do in school, but what you do as far as work ethics and everything else. Discipline is essential. The military, I think the military are training of that nature for some of our kids where they have parameters. These kids have no parameters nowadays. It's scary. And like I said, we're doing nothing for the African-American community, and especially Obama. Very disappointed in him. I had hope for him. Believe it or not, I had hope for him. Nick wouldn't vote for him, but I had hope for him. And he's totally...
Obama
there you go again, Bob. You starting talking sense again, and I'm so tempted to agree with you. But as soon as I start being nice to you, you're going to go on one of your rants again. So I'm not going to do it.
I've got real fast. I'm going to give Bob a scenario. We're going to
go on one of your rants.
Listen to this, Jonathan. Bob, you've just taken over as the manager of Trump's campaign. What are you going to do different?
I'm going to calm him down.
You think that would hurt him?
Focus on the issues. Focus on the border. Focus on national security. Get away from all this name calling stuff that really is degrading. If you want to be president,
a consultant now.
If you want to be president, it's time to start acting presidential.
But that's weird. I think he needs some of that Trumpism to stay.
He needed that when there were 17.
Yeah.
There's 4.
You got to adapt to the situation.
Right. He needs to be more presidential.
He's brought a lot of new people into the party. He doesn't want to lose those.
You're not going to lose it because the border is the issue. If you don't have borders, you don't have a country.
Yep. I remember I used to say that. I knew the National Guard was coming in once ahead of time. I used to use that in the speech.
Yeah. And that's the sad part, like I said, because to me, we do have. I think we're blessed.
This to you is that it's like the 11 million illegal immigrants that are in this country. I feel that some should be asked to leave, not asked, made to leave America. I think, but to say that all 11 million have to leave and then legally re-enter, it would call is fantasy. But I think
they broke the law to get here, though.
But what I'm saying is a more plausible is that they have to pay fines, they have to go through a Pacific policy, and some of them have to be asked to go back to their original countries. To me, that is a more common sense position.
Most of the people who come here, I mean, as I've told Bill in the past, if I had been born in Mexico with the conditions that are there, I would have come across the border.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, the economic condition, but the bottom line is they still do not have the financial well-being to pay the fines and everything else. You know, they come in and most of them are manual labor, at least in our fields out here. They don't make the big bucks. Yeah. Now, they do want to move to the construction business, which Bill used to be.
They've taken it over. They've definitely taken over to construction.
Right. But to me, unfortunately, with most of the illegals that are here, they're filing taxes, getting their earned income tax credit, a transfer of $3,000 to $5,000 per family per year.
I don't know how that happens.
Taxes.
Something's wrong with a country that forces me to buy insurance from an insurance company, then forces me to prove to the IRS that we've got insurance from the family, that doesn't force people to prove that they're citizens and they're not here illegally.
Yeah.
Something's wrong with it.
See, this is the other factor I want to make clear to you, Bill, is that I am a progressive, but I'm absolutely have no problem that in a regional healthcare system that you have private elements. I'm actually not in favour of a totally nationalised healthcare system for America, because it's too big a country, too different in regional requirements, and you need a more fragmented regional system that's controlled by those regions.
Healthcare can come down.
I don't really care if it comes from the state, from the states, from the federal government, from private. I just want everybody to have healthcare cover that they can afford, and they're treated like human beings, not like garbage. That's because my Christian. I've read the New Testament, and people, when they're ill, they shouldn't be taken to the cleaners and abused. And I expect a civilized society to look after its old people and its ill people. That doesn't mean that I believe in some nationalized system.
What about the euthanasia vans?
Pardon, what the hell are you talking about?
What
I've just talked something sensible.
Yes, you did. And
you come out with some ridiculous statement like that.
I assume you're against suicide.
No, actually, I think that is a individual right to decide if they want to end their life. That should be down to the individual.
It's a libertarian viewpoint.
Yeah, it's not for the state to tell somebody that they shouldn't kill themselves.
When does government start making that decision for people?
And They shouldn't. That's an individual decision.
Yeah. I obviously it is, but I'm saying they are talking about making euthanasia.
It's only crazy people like you come out with that.
No, it's not. He's got some logic. Hey, real fast, I'm gonna turn this off and talk. We're gonna finish up. Stay on the line for a couple of seconds. That's it'll be interesting to see what happens. By the way, one last thought is healthcare should come down a lot because this new online healthcare service. No, buying healthcare online. The cost of healthcare should drop down. You could have places you go and you have a nurse there. And you just tell
that was funny, Jonathan. You got to admit it.
Anyway, I'm okay.
Mate, we don't really have much.
How can you be for bloody Trump? Really?
We're recording again.
Well, honestly, and mate, what's your name, mate? Joshua. You said you go back to the UK. I'll tell you right now,
Jonathan.
There are a few people that do not like Trump in my hometown. I'll tell you that right now. Honestly, did you know, Joshua, that in the House of Commons...
Jonathan, it's Jonathan, I think you're...
Yeah, Jonathan.
Oh, Jonathan. I thought it says Joshua. I'm sorry, mate. I didn't mean to...
That's fine.
He always wanted to be called Joshua.
I've been called a lot worse. So.
Oh, mate, you remind me of my mate Jack. I like you. You're good. You're okay in my book. But no, I was thinking... sorry, I'm trying to look at your name right here, Robert. Can I call you Rob? Is that all right?
Bob, he's Republican Bob.
Yeah, Republican Bob.
Yeah,
Republican Bob. All right. Well, Bob, do you know that your candidate in the House of Commons is being debated on whether or not he should be banned from entering the country?
He was debated. Yeah,
I can't believe that.
they did.
No,
They already had that debate.
Seriously.
And it's amazing they got nothing better to talk about with their country's being invaded and they got bullshit like that they're talking about. Outrageous. Yeah. What a waste of time.
Well, it's not a waste of time. You know, you look at half the Labour Party and they're looking at this going, bloody hell, this guy doesn't know when to shut up. Seriously.
Well, but they took offense to what he said about not allowing Muslim refugees into the United States, and I don't think we should allow 100,000 Syrian refugees into the United States unvetted. And he says we need to put up a border fence to protect our country, because if you don't have borders, you don't have a country. Now, the United Kingdom, let's see, you're surrounded by water, so you have a little bit of protection, but you do have that little tunnel.
That's not true. Yeah, it's not tunnel, and I'll tell you right now, I'd rather take President Trump than the bloody French. I'll tell you that. I don't like.
I've been telling Bill.
That surprised me a bit. Not a bit.
I saw the French in Afghanistan for a year.
That's so funny.
I don't like the bloody French. They're so snobby.
I had to work with the English colonel for a while too. It was painful.
Well, my granddad was in the SAS. That's the military.
I was an exchange cadet at Sandhurst.
Oh, really? You went to Sandhurst?
Yeah, for a while. I was exchange cadet from West Point. But I prefer to work with the French. I really like working on French. I like the food. I like the English breakfast, but I like the French everything else.
You like French fries and French
haven't been to Scotland, mate.
I've been to Scotland.
Right now, you come to Scotland, you come to my hometown of Glasgow, I'll take you to a bloody pub.
Yeah, I love the pubs in Scotland.
You do you?
I spent 2 weeks. I was on vacation or leave. And I had a friend. We drove up into Scotland. And we played all the golf courses for 2 weeks. We spent all the time in Scotland.
Why are you laughing?
Little pub. Pubs are really old.
Laughing, mate. Right there in the corner.
Really?
Yeah. Why are you laughing?
Oh, you're so Scottish.
Hey, one of our best friends, my dad's best friend is from Scotland. They have a house in Scotland. Really, really successful, wealthy guy.
What part?
I don't know. It was on a golf course, but he actually came over here as a little kid.
Narrows it down.
And his family, something happened to his family terrible. And it's John Grimley. John Grimley is the guy's name. He's a Catholic too, and he's an accountant. But he's made millions and millions of dollars. Has a beautiful home in Scotland. Has one in the United States. And took my dad over and mom to Scotland. Really nice.
Jonathan, are you not in the UK?
No, I live in northern Nevada, close to Reno in northern Nevada.
That sounds like what you doing there?
Good question.
Is it because
Jonathan, I really think you would have done a lot better in Denver with what you're doing.
Yeah, but you will do.
I think you'd have more contact. I think. I'm not positive though. Denver's a million people.
Who do you support, Jonathan, for president?
I support Bernie Sanders.
That's why. Is he like Jeremy Corbyn to you?
Actually, he's probably a lot more middle of the road. Actually, he's probably. No, you laugh, but
yes, I do.
He's actually probably more like the Scottish Independence Party, in some of his position. Really, I would say.
How, mate, you tell me how, and I will buy you a pint. Because from what I'm looking at, because I watch it with great interest, Bernie Sanders is nothing like the bloody SNP. I tell you, really.
In what way?
He's not.
In what way?
It's coming from a Scotsman through. Like my granddad was in the Parliament when it first started. To me, I think it's really hard. I just personally, my gran, and my dad don't think he's much like the SNP. We think he's more like Cameron. Really, he's just playing to the masses. He's trying everything to get votes.
So you don't think he's particularly progressive or socialist in tone?
Well, Not really. I've only started to watch a little bit of his speeches. I'm more of a Jeremy Corbyn supporter, but
Can you? I'm just. It's so interesting, actually, because my two colleagues here, Bill and Bob here, if they think Bernie Sanders is a quasi-communist, I have no idea how you would deal with Colbert. I would just love to watch it. I think your brains would just grow and you just explode.
well, I'll tell you right now, mate, I think I'd be spending more time in the bloody pub than I would be doing it.
Hey, what do you, Dakota? What do you do for a living?
What do I do for a living? I work actually for the House of Lords.
Really? Oh, cool.
I do.
Like Bob.
I do.
Oh, you're kidding me. What do you do in the House of Lords?
Well, I am part of. I'm part of the Chief Whip's office. Have you not?
Wow.
Have you seen House of Cards?
Yeah.
Not the bloody American, Lord version.
No.
I'm talking about the original. Jonathan, you knew what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, I do.
All right. Now, the Chief Whip is something like, it's kind of like a speaker, much like your bloody Cruz, Ted Cruz. We talk and we talk and we talk and we got to get votes.
I'm a Ted Cruz supporter.
Oh, bloody hell. I shouldn't have used that adjective.
He doesn't care. He's heard a lot more.
Bill's dealt with me for years. He's been offended by a lot bigger things than that. Don't worry about it.
No, don't worry about it at all.
Sorry.
Hey, I'm hard. I was actually elected to city council vice mayor. Bob works in politics, consulting, and he's on the staff. I won't say the staff's person right now.
Very nice.
I work for a senator. I work for a senator
in California. You can't say.
What senator?
Don't say. He can't say. Let me unrecord. I'm going to take the recording off.
If truly, I would probably remove it. I really, and I think there's a tendency for government to grow. I really, even in America, I'd really think there's to have a Senate and an Assembly. I would actually get rid of one of those in America. I think there's just too much politics.
Bloody hell! I just remembered something.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, John. I didn't mean to.
You're talking the House of Representatives and then the Senate. You're talking about eliminating one of those. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Are you thinking about what I'm thinking? Are you thinking about the Senate? Because the Senate looks a lot like the Lords.
Yeah, it does a bit.
The Senate, you have two from every state, and the House of Representatives is voted by population. So I think I like the way it's set up. I think we have a great system of having it.
Better though, where the Assembly and the Senate, Assembly or Senate, they elected the two representatives from the state, the two senators.
Well, I love Nevada. If I was actually in Nevada, they only meet once every 2 years. I would extend it to every 5 years.
The local here, I like that too. I do like that. We have a part-time legislature.
Jonathan, sorry to change topics, but my roommate that I'm sharing this cabin with, he's asking me. I told him you're from Nevada. He wants to know if you're in the Area 51. In the Area 51.
Yeah, that's just. I can understand why you. Would, I can understand why you say that, but Nevada's a rather large state, and it's actually. How far, Bill? About
when you go down 95, it's down towards Las Vegas. But I've had friends who work in Area 51 fly in there.
It's about how is it 230 miles away, Bill?
I don't know. I have to go down there in 2 weeks. So
yeah,
you have to go down to bloody Area 51.
No, I'd go to Las Vegas. I go right past it though. And then they have the UAV. You know what we have though? We have all the UAVs, the unmanned vehicles. We do all the research here. We fly them here. This is like Mr. UAV state.
So
I'm sorry, Jonathan.
No, so with the Scottish Nationalist Party having the majority of seats in Scotland, do you feel that you got in June, you got the vote to leave the common market? Do you see the National Scottish Independent Party trying to pursue another referendum on leaving the UK?
Not at the present, and I'll tell you that right now is, Alex Salmond. I met the man. I love him to death. I shared the pint with him. actually, during his campaign. I can tell you right now, that man can bloody drink. He almost drank me under the table. But I honestly don't think so. And I honestly don't think in my lifetime, and I'm 27 years old, I tell you right now, Scotland will never be independent in my lifetime, probably in my children's lifetime, because it's always been a part of the system. And what I mean by that is that it's a United Kingdom. Really, it is. I mean, this is the one time where I will agree with Gordon Brown, really. You know, the United Kingdom stays better united.
Yeah.
You know, that's my view. That's my view.
So how are the Scottish nationalists doing in Scotland? Are they still pretty popular, or is some of the shine kind of worn off a little bit since they've been in actual power?
Personally, they're still popular because, you know, they promised. It's kind of hard for me to say this because I'm a Labour person, but I'm also, like I told you I had family that was in the Parliament. They're still somewhat popular, and there's a lot of people that still want the referendum to go through a second time.
Mm-hmm.
But to tell you the truth, they're comparing Nicola Sturgeon as the new Margaret Thatcher. And I don't, to tell you the truth, I met her and I have to agree. She is the new Margaret Thatcher. Hold on, somebody's writing bloody something right here.
That's me. Keep on going. I'm listening. I'm going to look up. I'm going to look up. I can't believe that you guys could actually separate. That's what's bizarre. So easily. By just
what do you mean separate?
The Scotland can break away from United Kingdom so easily just by a vote.
No, I tell you right now, it's not bloody easy. It's not.
If they vote, what if they voted to separate? Would they separate?
Jonathan, you want to explain that, or do you want me to?
Well, I'll have a go, but I'll probably get it wrong because I'm talking about you're Scottish and I'm English. I'm American citizen, so I'm a hybrid. Culturally,
both
bloody!
Don't you have English and British? Don't you have English citizenship or
British? I got both.
British, yeah.
Culturally, I'm British. By choice, I became an American. I did see Bob. I saw the oath, and
I'm half Irish and half Russian. I'm glad my family's moved here.
Yeah.
And yet you bloody stand up for a bigot. I'm sorry.
This is a great way. You see, you could always call somebody a name. Why is he a bigot?
I don't mean to insult, because really, I was told about the last debate. Did they really compare dick sizes? Really? Did they really compare?
You gotta watch Saturday Night Live. I got the Saturday Night Live link up here.
It was.
You say that Dakota, but it gets pretty aggressive in the House of Commons, doesn't it? You know, it can get pretty heated.
It depends on during Prime Minister's questions. I tell you right now, it's bloody. It's a bloodbath.
Yeah, it's pretty bloody. You know, they're not particularly polite, are they? But I say that we haven't had the hand conversation yet, have we? In the House of Commons, have we? Now, get back to your question about Bill Scotland. Well, that was one of that argument was one of the factors that I think led in the end to the actual majority of people, by a small minority, saying no, because in some ways it would be easier, but it was pointed out that you had all the issues of land ownership, constitutional issues, a number of things that would be in flux for a number of years that would have to be sorted out. But fundamentally, if the Scottish people did vote in a fair referendum, they would be allowed to leave.
That's crazy. I can't.
Why is that crazy?
Just
Bob? Amazing
it can break up so easily. That's amazing. It's a good government.
Well, it would depend on the circumstances. It would take over a long.
I mean, there's no way a state can break off. I mean, we have a civil. A state cannot.
We had that argument, didn't we, Bill?
We did.
No,
We
you
had
say
that
that,
argument.
but isn't it true that the state Texas threatened to secede under, was it?
They can threaten, but they
Perry?
can't break off. No, the state cannot break off from the United States, period.
Right.
It's
Well,
impossible.
didn't I read
They're
something
they're
that
Republic,
they
aren't they,
threatened
Bill?
to...
We're a republic. You cannot secede from the United States. It's against the law. It's treason.
Jesus.
Well, to tell you that, no, to kind of finish off what Jonathan said, Jonathan, you got it right, by the way.
Thank you.
Seriously. I think that the SNP got voted into power solely on the promise that they would deliver a referendum sooner rather than later. And to be quite honest, I can tell you right now, I had a friend, what was his name? I haven't spoken to him in a long time. I think his name was Ted. Ted was with Alex Salmond when the vote results came in. I can tell you right now, Salmond was mad. He really was. It was disappointing.
Hey, Bob, I gotta go. But do you want? I mean, and Jonathan, do you want to take over, Jonathan?
No, I've got to go, Bill. I've got to go.
It's late for us. It's 9:00. Hey, Darkotas, check back on every Sunday night. This time we're on. What time is it over there? Pretty late, isn't it? Early?
He's in the
Well,
US.
Are you in the
I'm
U.S.
in the
right
US
now?
right-
Or?
I'm on holiday.
That's
like I
right.
said when I came
Which
on.
which bit of the US are you holiday?
Oregon.
Oh, you are in Oregon. I got it
Oh,
right.
Oregon.
I am.
It's beautiful.
I've got-
Which part of Oregon?
Salem. If I'm
Oh,
saying that
Yeah,
right.
what brings you to
Salem.
Oregon? What brings you to Oregon?
Oh, I've got my gran.
Your family?
My
The
gran.
weed.
He's grand.
Wow, that's kind of neat. How'd your family get here?
Well,
By boat.
it's a lot.
Rowboat.
You're a cheeky bastard, aren't you?
He's a
You're
cheeky,
cheeky.
he's a cheeky bugger. He's a cheeky bugger, isn't he?
I want to hear
No.
Bob call them names for a while.
Cheeky
No,
bugger.
no,
That's
I'll
what
tell
you
you.
are, Bob.
No,
A cheeky
to answer-
bugger.
To answer your, that's an English answer. That's what I say was a Scottish answer.
So how long has
Seriously.
your grandparents been here?
Well, they moved over here not long after Blair left office back in
Oh.
2007.
And what do you think of Mr. Blair?
He was there for a long time.
Come on, tell us the truth. What do you really think of Mr. Blair?
I can't tell you because I get fired. I get the sack. If I told
We're
you.
recording this too. Yeah, we send it over to the house.
Mr.
No,
Blair.
no.
Mr. Blair, the war criminal.
We are in the
Mr.
United
Blair,
States talking about.
Mr. Blair, the war criminal.
I'll tell you right now, he should have lost in 2005. Seriously, I was at Cambridge when he won. I lost a bit because I thought Howard would win the election. I bet £50 on it, and I lost £50.
What's the exchange rate now? Per pound.
3.
Wow, 3.
I don't know.
Remember, we used to be 2. I was there.
It's gone down quite a lot, actually.
It's gone down quite a lot.
It was
I think
2
there's
something
around-
when I was there. It was a pretty good deal.
There's been so many rounds on.
Wait till we get that bigot in the White House. We're going to have that exchange rate down. We're just going to bring all our jobs back here. Everyone's going to come to America. It's going to be beautiful.
Yeah.
I
Beautiful.
think I know. I think I know what I'm going to do every bloody Sunday night when
Come
I
on
get
down.
back.
Come on,
I'm on the come on here and I'm on the debate with you, Bob. I'm pointing right at you.
You know what? We'll have you on the regular show. We have a podcast.
Really?
Meet the Voter. It's called Meet the Voter. We'll put you on the podcast.
Do you want nice? You know, I thought that'd be pretty cool.
Here, I'm going to put the link in here. Here's meetthevoter.com.
See that?
All right. Do I?
I'm doing it again. Are you watching?
Throwing it in the sun.
You're a
Well,
cheeky
I've
bugger.
got to go, but it's been lovely talking
Yeah,
to you.
Jonathan, I'm going to turn you off since you're a host. I'm going to knock you off. Say goodbye. Wave goodbye. I'm going to turn you off. Well, there's Bob's gone. I'm going to.
Bob's here.
No. Jonathan, excuse me. How can I say that? Dakota, I'm going to shoot you
All right.
off
All right.
Scott Save the Republic.
next Sunday. And Bob's just you and me. Hey, Bob, I sent you an email with some links. Okay, Bob, now I've got the controls. I want to thank everybody for coming on tonight. And another meetthevoter.com, and episode, whatever it was, 228. I'll edit it, have it up tomorrow morning.